guys, it's Vi, and it's like 3 hours till dinner time, but today we're making lasagna and cheddar bay biscuits out of a box. We needed to have some sort of boxed something because I'm going to let you know right now, this video is going to be slightly different than my other ones because there are so many different steps and little combinations of just a pinch of this and a dash of this that it's too much for me just to show you like an overview because it's very, very overwhelming. This recipe was an idea from Kayotic, so thank you so much for the idea. I hope this is what you meant by a pasta bake. And this is my favorite recipe that I have ever made and ever tried for lasagna. It's called Tyler's Ultimate Lasagna. It's by, I found it actually online one time when I was just searching recipes. You can find it at Kayotic Kitchens, and I will leave the link down below where you can find it. And you can see all of the ingredients in one and follow along if you like, or you can just do it the way I'm going to do it because I'm going to show you this in little steps. So the very first step, what you have to do is we have vegetables. So this isn't your traditional lasagna. Usually lasagna is nothing but meat, cheese, and badness all rolled into one. This is a wonderful way to trick your children into eating vegetables and they won't even know it. So this is a really, really good recipe for that. So what you have here is we have 1 stalk of celery. They're chunked up into pieces. They're fairly large because we're actually going to be blitzing it in our food processor. So I just chopped them up into these pieces just to make it easier and have more uniformity, make it easier on my food processor. If you don't have one, this can be done by hand. It's just a lot faster in your food processor. So, like I said, we had approximately 1 stalk of celery. I have this up in pieces as well. We have 1 large carrot, chopped up again, just to make things easier on our food processor. We have half to a whole red bell pepper. Any color is fine. We have half to 3/4 of a yellow onion. You can use white onions, sweet onions, it doesn't matter, but onions taste really good in this meal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of these and we're gonna throw it into our food processor and we're gonna blitz it a few times. What I mean by that is you're not gonna wanna pulverize it completely. So you're just going to push, like, for instance, you'll do the pulse one just a few different times to kind of get them all in small pieces. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you exactly how big the pieces should be. Alright guys, we're back and I finished blitzing, and this is what it should look like. As you can see, it does still have chunks in it, but it is all food processed. It all looks pretty good and it's mixed up. When it looks like this, this is when you're going to want to stop blitzing. I think I did it maybe a total of 10 times, I think, to get it this way, and this is perfect. In the meantime, let's come over to the stove. As you can hear and probably see, we have meat sizzling in here. I have 2 pounds of ground stuff. I have 1 pound of ground beef, and I have an additional pound of ground sausage. So we're going to cook this until it is all cooked and browned, no pink is left on this, and then we'll check back in and add the other stuff. And we're back. And now, if you can take a look over here at our meat, it is crumbly. It is all cooked. There is no more pink in it, so we know this is ready. When all of your meat is cooked and looks like this, it's time to add all of those vegetables that we put through the food processor. So we're going to take all these and we're going to dump it into here. There we go. It's going to taste really good. And honestly, I gotta say that when everything is all in there, you really can't tell that you have those extra vegetables in there. So it's a really nice recipe, especially like I said, for those who don't really care for vegetables. This is a wonderful way to trick them into eating them. So let's get this all mixed up. When it's all mixed up in here, you're going to want to let it sit for approximately 2 minutes just to get all the flavors and everything mixed in together. And after those 2 minutes are up, I will show you what you add. So after that's been simmering for 2 minutes, we're going to put in approximately 2 cloves of garlic. We're gonna put in, there you go, a half a cup of beef broth. Now what I did, this is just beef bouillons, salt dissolved in the hot water, so you can just do it that way. And then we're gonna add a decent pinch of just regular black pepper. So these are the 3 ingredients that are gonna go in after that's been sitting for a couple minutes. So in a couple minutes, after all this is in there, I'll check back again with you. Believe it or not, it's been about 2 minutes. So now we get to add in our garlic. So we're gonna put in, like I said, 2 cloves of garlic, our half a cup of our beef broth. And the recipe does say that if you don't want to use beef broth, you can substitute it with red wine. I personally have never done that, so if you tackle this recipe and you use the red wine, leave me a comment and let me know what it tastes like. So now we're going to add our pepper. It was a good dash, so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it all in here. It's probably going to be approximately a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon at max. Yeah, probably half a teaspoon, I'd say. It's not that much. So honestly, when it's all in here, we're going to stir this all up, and then this is going to simmer for the next 15 minutes. You're going to want to watch it every once in a while and give it a good stir, but for the most part, you're going to leave this alone. You're going to just let it simmer. You don't want to cover it because there's lots of water and vegetables, so it's going to need to cook out just a little bit, otherwise your lasagna is going to be super runny. So we're going to get this all mixed up, and then I'm going to leave it here to simmer for the next 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes, I'm just going to check back with you. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes that this has been simmering with the lid off, and now we're going to add in 6 ounces of tomato paste. So I'm going to just scoop it out, put it in there. I need to check the recipe real quick because I'm wondering if it's more than the 6 ounces. Hold on for just 1 second. Nope, it is just the 1 6 ounce. For whatever reason I thought it was 2, but it's just the 6 ounce. So I'm going to pour this all in here. Scoop it in actually. And we're going to get this all stirred up with the rest of it. So all our meat is coated. You mix it before you put the other ingredients in because this kind of takes the sweetness off of it. Tomato paste has a real sweet flavor, and you don't want the sweet flavor in here. You want all of the other flavors to come through. So we're going to put this in here. So while this is kind of stewing in its mixture here, we're going to come over and do the second part of what I have put in here. So the next thing we're going to be adding is 2 cans of diced tomatoes. And I also have all of these spices that I'll go through. They're all in here. So we have 1 tablespoon of oregano. Oops, sorry. We have 1 tablespoon of oregano in there. We have 2 tablespoons of parsley, 2 tablespoons of basil, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and I have put in an additional 2 teaspoons of just regular salt, table salt. So this is kind of stewing a little bit. I'm going to get the diced tomatoes in there. So both of those go in. I'm going to get those stirred up a little bit. If it seems like this is quite the process and takes a long time, it does. But I guarantee you the process is worth the wait if you have the time to do this. It's very, very good. This is not one of my quick and easy meals that gets done in 10 minutes, but it is something that you'd want to do if you have a lot of people coming over to eat, you have the time to cook it, or you're just feeling like having some comfort food. So once that's all mixed in like this, we're going to go ahead and add all of our spices. And we're going to go ahead and stir it up again. Once this is stirred up, we're going to turn our heat down to a low. And we're going to let this simmer for the next 30 minutes. So it will have been on the oven or on the stove for a total of 45 minutes when everything is all said and done. So I'm going to get this all stirred up. Like I said, I'm going to turn it down to a low, medium low, and I'm going to let it simmer for the next 30 minutes. Keep the lid off as you want as much of the moisture to kind of escape. You don't want this really runny. So every once in a bit you might want to come over and stir it, but for the most part you're going to let it do its own thing for the next 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, when this is ready, I'll check back with you. And we're back. That's been simmering for 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on our oven and we're going to bake it at 350. We're going to be baking our lasagna for 45 minutes when everything is done. So now that we have our meat sauce, we need to do the cheese portion of making our lasagna. So we need 2.5 cups of ricotta cheese, or in our case, I'm using cottage cheese because I think it tastes just as good and it's cheaper than ricotta. So there's 2 here, but if you prefer ricotta cheese, it really doesn't matter. You can go either one. So there's about 2.5 cups of cottage cheese right there. We're going to then beat 2 large eggs in here. There's 1, 2, and we're going to go ahead and just crush them and beat them just a little bit, and we're going to add it to our mixture there. So like that's pretty good, and we're going to go ahead and add it to our mixture there. And we're also going to put approximately 2/3 cup of shredded fresh Parmesan cheese to the mix.
Shredded by me.
Yes, the homie shredded it. So when that's all done, we're going to get it all mixed up together. It's not going to look really good, but it tastes amazing when everything is put together. Adds an extra cheesy flavor and it's really good. The other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to either shred or slice about 1 pound of mozzarella cheese, fresh mozzarella. The kind that I've used, it's already pre-sliced for me, but I just slice it up in smaller bits even still. So as you can see right here on my cutting board of sorts, we have, this is 1/2 pound and this is an additional 1/2 pound. They've just been sliced. They're about, I can't really tell you how thin, but they're this thin, and then they're just small little pieces, a little, about almost the size of a small domino. Maybe about 1/2 domino is what you're going to want. Then, once you have your mix already done here, we've got that preheated, we've got our cheese taken care of. Let's see. We've got to assemble it. So you're going to want a big 9x13 pan, or in my case, I actually splurged and I bought a Baker's Best lasagna pan by Wilton, and it only cost me about 10 bucks, I think. Maybe it was 19, I don't know. No, I think it was 10 bucks. So this was about $10, and I have never used it, but in the past, my 9x13s, they boil over a little bit. So I'm looking forward to being able to use this because I think all the food is going to go nicely in here. So what you want to do first is, now this is an optional step. I do not do it, but a lot of times people like to parboil, also known as, you know, mostly cook their lasagna noodles. I do not. I think they turn out just as good or better if you don't have to mess with that step because it's messy, it takes a long time, and it's just not any fun. So I'm going to take some, these are already chopped up to fill in the gaps. So you're going to want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and turn our mixture off. If you want to come over here and look, as you can see, a lot of the moisture has been removed from this, and it's pretty much just thick meat and wonderful smelling goodness. I promise it smells amazing. Everyone's going to want to eat dinner, but you still have another 45 minutes cook time. So there is our meat. I'm going to bring it over here. So you're going to have to watch out for a second, homie. So we've got our meat product there. I think I'm going to have to move some stuff around so I have room. Didn't really think this part through. So once you have your noodles and a layer on the bottom, you're going to want to take half of your mixture here. And you're going to spread the, I believe it's meat first, right? Let's find out just to be sure. Yep. So we're going to do half of our ricotta mixture, or cottage cheese mixture.
That's kind of gross looking.
I know. It's going to get really messy, but it tastes really good in the end. So you're going to want to just spread it all around, just like that. That's why we have kitchen sinks to wash. And trust me, the food tastes so good. It may not look really appetizing right now, but when all the other layers are in here and it's topped with cheese and you cook it and it's amazing, yeah, it'll be well worth it. So once it's in there, I'm just going to use the same spoon actually. We're going to use half of our meat mixture. I got to move it over a little bit. Like I said, I didn't think this part through very well. So pardon me and my shifting. It's hot. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to use half of the meat mixture and we're going to just put that on top of our cheese mixture here, just like that. Spread it all around in there so it's got, you want it to cover all the cheese mixture and everything. So be generous when you're scooping it on there. Like I said, I'm just going to use half of the mixture. There it goes. Oh, that looks good. It smells really good. I promise. Does it look better now, homie? Sort of? Kind of? Do you like it better? It looks better. No? He doesn't think it looks good. I do. I think it looks good, and it definitely smells good.
It smells good.
It does. Okay, so once you've got your meat mixture on top of your cheese mixture, we're going to use 1 pound, or half a pound, sorry. It's a 1 pound total. You're going to use half a pound of either shredded cheese or sliced and cubed, if you will. So we're just going to take these. I kind of like to use the cubed. I used to always do shredded, but I have found that when this melts, it's just better than the shredded. So we're going to put a whole layer on this, trying to get it all spread out evenly. Just like that. Yum, yum. Once it looks like that and you've used half a pound of your cheese, you're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. You're going to take your noodles and you're going to put another layer of noodles on top of everything just like this. And then you're going to repeat and you're going to do the rest of the cheese mixture, the rest of your meat mixture, and the last of the half pound of your sliced or shredded cheese. And then I'll check back in with you. Okay. Less than 5 minutes later, I've got everything all set to go. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me do an additional layer, so that's why we paused and came back. But it's all in here. When everything is all assembled, you're going to want to shake the whole thing. What you're doing is you're getting all of the air bubbles that you can out of the mixture. Tap your pan. Obviously mine is not clear so you can't see it, but if yours was clear you'd be able to see some of the air bubbles escaping a little bit so that everything cooks evenly. This goes in for 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven right now.
Oh,
We're going to set my timer for 45 minutes. When we have approximately 10 to 12 minutes before that comes out of the oven, we're going to make these red lobsters or rolls. Now, I'm not going to show you how to make these. We're just going to follow the instructions on the back. So that's what's going to happen. And then, when I only have a couple more minutes until dinner is ready, I'm going to slice these. These are just cucumbers from my mom and dad's garden. So we're just going to slice these and have them as our vegetable for tonight, because our lasagna has lots of veggies in it, so we didn't need overkill. We just needed a little bit of something. So when dinner is ready, when this is ready to come out, we'll check back in and we'll have a look.
good.
All right, we're going in. Let's check out our lasagna. Let's see how it looks. And it looks really good. So there's our lasagna out of the oven. It's got a nice crispy look. The cheese is just now starting to get golden, so this is perfect, and all of our cheese is melted on top. I'm gonna let this sit for a couple minutes, and while it's sitting, I wanted to draw your attention over here. I told you that we were going to have cucumbers in addition to dinner. So, as you can see, they're in these cool shapes. Now, the way that I did this, I have a hard time leaving well enough alone, and I have to make things look pretty. So what I did is I took this little cookie cutter, it's just a small one, and it happens to be almost the perfect size for cutting cucumbers to make them look pretty. So what I'm going to do is I have all my cucumbers there. They've been chilling in our fridge, and I'm just going to take some of this zesty Italian dressing, and I'm going to put some on top like that. See, Ariana knows that it's dinner time, and she's like super hungry right now. So there is our side dish of vegetables. And the last thing that needs to happen is we need to get our biscuits out of the oven. So these were the Cheddar Bay biscuits, the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits. Nicely browned on top, perfect, ready to eat. And that's what they look like. That is what's for dinner. We're having lasagna, Cheddar Bay biscuits, and cucumbers. And she's really excited about dinner. So I'm gonna scoot. Anyways, if you like this video, give it a big fat thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below. Tell me if there's any foods that you would like to see prepared. And subscribe to see more. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye. Make sure you leave me a like if you like this video, subscribe to see more, and leave me some comments down below because I love to interact with you guys.